Good morning, good evening, and good day. Today we are going over an exciting one, the advanced micro of infantry. How to micro your infantry in the advanced ways you see pro players doing it to get that job done. So if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button, subscribe, and consider joining us on Patreon to support the channel and to get better at Steel Division 2 through Discord, replay reviews, and coaching. Let's dive right in. So the first and most basic one here is dodging grenades. So you're going to see most of the micro I talk about here is CQC micro. In other words, close quarters combat. I think in Europe they say CQB, close quarters battle, I assume. And that's where the majority of infantry micro comes from. The long range stuff, there's one or two tricks you can do, but overall, in terms of microing your infantry, it's going to be when they're up close and personal, when you're trying to dodge the majority of weapons, when you're trying to stay out of that 100-meter range, and that's when the skill really comes in. That's when you see pro players really turn on the infantry micro, and those are a lot of the tricks I'm going to try to show you here today to get better at your infantry micro. So if you're looking to get to the next level, so like you feel like you do pretty well, but for some reason you lose infantry a lot, this is the video for you. So the first thing here, dodging grenades, which comes up most commonly with buildings, okay? And we'll talk about dodging them in the forest in a little bit, but the main one is buildings. So what happens, well, once a infantry unit throws a grenade and it's in the air, you then have a moment of opportunity to leave the building, and the grenade will go into the building and explode without your infantry unit being there. Now, if you are in the forest or in an open area, once a grenade is thrown, it kind of like follows your unit like a magnet, so there's really no way to get away from it at that point. But when it comes to buildings, if you hop out in time, you'll actually completely dodge the grenade. So if we see here, this sapper you will throw, I'll actually wait till he throws it, jump out, the grenade goes into the building, immediately blows up, I take no damage, hop my guy forward, and he tosses his grenade. He does not do the same thing. And we can see that that's an easy win of combat there. So that's how you can use that building hopping trick. It doesn't even have to be a building hop. You can just pop them out of the building to dodge grenades. This is really important. You see pro players do this a lot. This is actually almost like, I would say this is the reason I'm showing this one first is because it's actually almost a necessary skill to play at pro level. You got to be able to dodge grenades. As you get better, pioneers and grenade throwing units lose their effectiveness really rapidly because pro players know how to legitimately just dodge the grenades. So you almost have to depend on other units to get the job done a little bit. That's not to say they're ineffective. You can see they obviously killed, and if your opponent's not microing at that moment, the grenade is obviously very deadly, and if you're in tight areas where the opponent can't get away, then yeah, grenades are great. But in towns, they're actually, their effectiveness is very questionable once you get to higher levels. Another a little bit more basic, but I need to make sure everyone knows this. There's a bit of a rock, paper, scissors shoot thing with forest fights with infantry, and flames beat grenades, grenades beat line infantry lose to both. It's important to understand that in the little dichotomy of close quarters combat. Flames are I would say kind of king. Now, this is the next big thing here. When your troops get suppressed, fall them back. And I know I have this in the normal infantry micro, and that's not really advanced, but the fact is most people do not fall back soon enough. They wait for their troops to get suppressed, and then they hit the fallback button. That's too late. If you really want to save your troops, fall them back the second combat is not going in your favor. How do you know combat's not going in your favor? Well, you're fighting flame troops in the forest, and you don't have flame troops yourself, or you get mortars coming down on you, or like other support weapons of some sort, say, a tank or machine gun, whatever. It doesn't matter. But you're basically, if your troops are in a losing position, fall them back like immediately. Don't wait. It just gives your opponent the opportunity to surrender your troops. If you run right away, they have a much higher chance of getting away, and they also don't surrender. Like, they only surrender if they're at maximum suppression. If they're not at maximum suppression, they will not surrender when enemy troops get close to them if they're falling back. So it's important to know that falling back sooner is better than falling back later. Of course, you want to, I know we all want to, hold the line and fight to the bitter end, but that's really not the best way to do it. That's not actually going to win you a ton of infantry combat. It's going to lose you a lot of infantry combat because your troops will take unnecessary damage, and you're just significantly increasing the chances that they're going to get surrendered by not falling them back sooner. So if you really want to keep your troops alive, hit that fallback button. Hit it sooner than you think you need to hit it. Don't try to hold the line to the last second. Just fall back and re-attack later. That's the way to win infantry combat, is continuing to build and not lose your own troops compared to theirs who are constantly being whittled down. So the next maneuver we're going to see here, this is a tough one. This is going to take a lot of practice to get down. So what you can do, you can see grenades versus assault units here. So just submachine guns versus grenades. And what he's doing, he's engaging and then he's falling back before my troops have a chance to get the grenade off. So what you can do with these assault troops, so when you have like just machine gun troops, submachine gun troops versus grenade troops, grenade troops will win if you stand and just shoot at each other because the grenade will go off and your troops will die. But if you can engage and run away just before the grenade gets thrown, you can keep resetting the grenade timer. And also then your suppression builds up to a point where the opponent just gets suppressed, right? And they can no longer like attack. So if we look here, he's just going to wipe this one out first. So now the pioneer troop is forced to just continuously fall back because the player knows that he can no longer like throw the grenade. So do you see he engaged and he immediately fell back, did some damage and fell back. Moves forward, starts to aim, and he falls back. And the grenade never gets a chance to be thrown as long as he keeps hitting and falling back over and over again. And since this dude has 8 or however many submachine guns, he's going to put out more damage than the few submachine guns that the pioneer has. Now he didn't wait, he waited a little too long that time. You also, the second that someone throws a grenade, you want to like retreat immediately because it significantly reduces the amount of damage the grenade does. So do not wait. Don't like stand there thinking, oh, okay, maybe I'll hold off and I'll get the kill. You won't. Just fall back immediately. So that's a really advanced tactic in the woods if you want to, if you have the time to be super micro intensive and time that out. It can be really devastating because you can wipe out pioneer troops and stuff really well that way. So our next maneuver is another really niche but really strong maneuver if you can pull it off, and it's not easy, but you see pro players do it once in a while. This one is definitely not as common, but can be very effective. So let's say you have infantry, and I don't have live of this because it doesn't happen very often and I don't do it. So let's say you have infantry, this unit in the building and they're fighting, say, an infantry unit over here. Okay, so they're shooting and you're winning the combat, you need to kill this unit off. And let's say, though, the opponent has a tank or some sort of slower firing support weapon here, aiming at your unit. So what you can do is really rapidly, so they fire a burst, this guy comes up and starts to aim. What you can do, the second you see that thing almost about to fire, you can hop out and then hop back in immediately. And what that does, if you just hop out and then back in, that resets the firing aimer on this unit over and over again, the heavier unit. And these guys will fire a burst of machine gun or something before this thing fires. So if you just continuously go back and forth in, okay, you can definitely just keep resetting the aim time on whatever unit is firing at you over here and continue to shoot at the infantry unit you're trying to kill, or say the support weapon or something else. And this works against, like, just say assault guns. Say you're shooting at an assault gun. Now the thing is, if you're too slow, they will still fire and then you'll get hit by the blast of that shot. So this is a really tough little maneuver, but that can be really effective in specific situations when you're trying to kill something soft and there's a hard target somewhere or a slower firing target somewhere that you need to like keep resetting its fire aim pattern. It can be really effective. So another pretty common maneuver here is, so let's say you have some infantry in these buildings, and I couldn't find a game with it in it, but it definitely happens. So you have your let's say you have Sostrup here and the opponent's in this building here, right? But they have some good firepower. They will kill you pretty fast if you sit in this building. What you got to do, you hop over, right? Let the guy throw the grenade. So, can I get him to throw it? And then you hop back out the second the grenade's thrown, let the grenade hit, and hop back into the building to try to surrender those units. You don't want to sit here and let them shoot while the grenade's floating in the air. It does take quite a long time for that Molotov or grenade to get through the air into the other building, and especially if it's a grenade, it takes time to then explode. So you hop in, and then you let them throw, and you immediately hop out. This works a lot better with Molotov units because the cocktail throws a lot faster than the grenade does, so it's very possible to quick hop and then jump out really fast and get that kill. Our final tip here is a little bit more general. It applies to more units than just infantry, but it's extremely important for infantry as well. And probably most important for infantry because it comes up the most often. It's extremely important that you are aware of the combat range of your units. So my pioneer assaults are only effective at 100 meters. Like, they don't have anything further. That's what their flamethrowers are. That's what their machine guns are. So when I move these troops, I'm going to be extremely specific to never move them close enough to the edge. You'll see I only move them up to here, no further than right here. Because at that point, the line of sight starts to get bigger, and he can start shooting at my troops outside of my range. And I really don't want that. And this is a mistake a lot of new players make all the time. So you can see this, the tank can't engage because I'm just too far inside of this forest. And I'm doing that on purpose. I do not want to get into a spot the opponent can see me outside of this woods. This is so important. I see so many people just completely waste close range units such as pioneers or, you know, Sturm Pioneer, any, you know, flamer units specifically, you know, even grenade throwing units, because then they're not using their most powerful asset, which is the grenade. You know, and they put them like here where people can see them, or they put them like right here. Even at just a little bit is too much, because now they're going to get shot. Okay, it happens more often than it should. These like little flamer units, they'll put them right here, or like try to chase someone out of the forest or something, and the opponent just get out of range and then gets to keep shooting at the flame unit. You have to be extremely mindful of the range that your infantry can fire at. If they can't fire out of the woods, if they don't have a weapon to fire at further, they should not be at the edge of the woods. Okay, this is just so important. Do not put your infantry that have close range weapons at the edge of woods, because then you're wasting them. Put them deep. Put them so that there's clearly just a straight circle, right? You see this circle here, like a perfect circle. There's no little like bumpies on it. Like if I was here, he'd be shooting at me before I could shoot him, and my guy would die. So just be extremely mindful of this placement of your infantry in close quarter combat situations. The same in buildings. Over here, I purposely put my flame troops, or like, let's say I really need to kill these tanks. I'm putting him in a spot that has limited lines of sight out. So if he wants to get in on my infantry, he's going to have to get up close within grenade range for me to kill him. Now, this just happened to be infantry, luckily for me, that came out of here, because otherwise the tank could have shot me and I couldn't have responded. So make sure when you're putting troops like here, you could put him right here. So when the tank drives by, the only way a tank can get this is by getting within the grenade range. Otherwise, this guy is safe. Like, he's basically untouchable by armored pieces because he's got a grenade, you know, he's got an AT grenade, and the opponent cannot see him unless they are right on top of him. So you really have to just be aware of these things. If you're not, then you're going to lose infantry units unnecessarily, and infantry are the meat and potatoes of this game. If you can't use your infantry well, you're not going to be able to win this game. Tanks and stuff are nice. Microing them well is great and can definitely like win you a game. But what truly will win you consistently is being great with your infantry micro. I hope this video was helpful, guys. Hope it gave you some tips and tricks and definitely some more advanced strategies for how to use your infantry units in Steel Division 2. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, subscribe, and consider joining on Patreon to get access to the private Discord. You get replay reviews by me, and you can even at higher tiers get one-on-one coaching personal to you. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, thanks a bunch, and have a fantastic day.